So I just recorded the Theranos video, the Elizabeth Holmes video. She's a fascinating character because um, I wanted to give her a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. I feel like she really did believe that this problem could be solved. That they really could build this machine that would democratize medicine, change the world in this way. And that's why I wanted to do a video specifically about that and talk about like how the idea itself is pretty great, but just it's not something that can be actually done. And it was sort of like I really think that she thought that if you just raise enough money and hire smart people, the problem could be solved. It's a weirdly overly optimistic view of the world, you know, like if you just put enough effort into it and enough attention and throw enough money at it, hire really smart people, give them all the resources they need, they can do it. You know, any problem can be solved. And as it turns out, there's just certain physical limitations that was making this whole idea not possible. And somewhere along the way, they lost sight of the fact that, you know, even if they had a machine that could only do 20 tests and stuff, that's still impressive and that's still helpful and that's still something they could sell and it wouldn't be a scam, you know. But they never lowered their expectations. They kept saying it's going to be 200 plus diagnoses, you can do anything on it. And then when it became clear that you just couldn't do that, instead of, again, refining down to something that is feasible, they just kept lying about it and tried to cover it all up. And now you got this giant scam. The big debate is, did she know from the beginning that this was not something that was feasible, or was, you know, and therefore like the whole thing was a scam from day one, or did she have this optimistic naivete at the beginning and just believe that if she, you know, focused on her image enough and got it out there that she can make the whole thing work. Again, I think I'm probably being too nice to her because it definitely became a scam at some point. But I'm opting on the side of giving her that. To me, that all makes sense to me. One thing I left out, and not for any particular reason, but I did find out that she didn't just like come into this money on her own. You might be wondering like, well, she got into Stanford and was able to drop out at 19 and start this crazy business. Where does one get the money to do something like that? I certainly didn't have that when I was 19. Well, it turns out that she is part of the Fleischmann's yeast family. She comes from yeast money. I'm not exactly sure what her connection is to it, but I know that she's part of that family and they're like extremely wealthy. So she came from wealth in the first place. I feel like that happens a lot. I feel like a lot of times you hear about people that just like achieve these amazing things at, you know, 19, 20 years old. And then you find out, oh, their parents were super wealthy. I think that might help. Something else that I talk in there about the whole, I think with the word scam gets thrown around quite a bit. I've started to do a full video about this because I feel like every time I turn around, there's some company that's working on a new technology or an idea, and it immediately becomes called, or people start calling it a scam, like immediately, because it's not something that currently exists, or it's a process or a technology that's being developed right now. And, you know, it takes money to develop things, so you have to like convince investors to put money into it. And of course there's opportunity for fraud there, and of course there's bad actors like Theranos that take advantage of it. And I don't even really fault people who call it a scam so quickly, because there need to be also skeptical people out there evaluating these claims and making sure that people don't get away with, you know, actual scams. I get that. But I think it gets thrown around a lot, like way too much. I have personal experience with that. I've had people accuse me of being scammy for, you know, having Patreon supporters and stuff. I've talked here and there about my little side business, the Kinker Boy business, the pills that I sell, the vitamin supplement. I mean, it's a pretty simple formula. And I've actually had people try to accuse me of running a scam because you can buy the ingredients separately and you don't have to actually buy those pills. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, you can buy all the ingredients for a burger separately. Does that make McDonald's a scam? People are just so quick to go to that word. Sometimes technology has to be developed from scratch. Fraudulent is one thing, but just because somebody's raising money for something that doesn't exist yet does not make it a scam. On the subject of Elizabeth Holmes' voice, there, like I said in the video, there's some people who have sort of defended it a little bit because there is a bit of sexism in Silicon Valley and stuff, but that just seems like such a weird way to try to counter that. And I say this as somebody who hates my voice. I've never liked my voice. I think I sound like Kermit on a hangover, but and I think I need to work with a vocal therapist or vocal coach or something, because if I record a few videos in a row, my voice will actually hurt. Or if I talk a lot at an event or something, and then like the next day my voice is like way lower because I've like damaged it in some way. And the older I get, the raspier I think it sounds. I'm just trying to not get to like Alex Jones. You get to Alex Jones when you talk like this. I'm trying to keep him talking like that. I shouldn't have done that. That hurt. But the point of the video really was, Elizabeth Holmes has eaten up so much of the oxygen in the room whenever you talk about Theranos. The fraud is what takes center stage and whatnot. But I actually kind of found it fascinating that they had this idea. I say they, I guess it was she, that Elizabeth Holmes had this idea of a set-top or a desktop device that could, diagnose hundreds of maladies with a tiny drop of blood. Like I say in the video, there's so many companies that just make little weird gimmicky things just to make some money. And here was somebody that wanted to do something that would democratize medicine and change the world. And I think it really would if something like that existed. And again, I'm probably being too nice to her, but I think that's what, she had a really great idea that wasn't really possible. And then she just kind of became fraudulent in her attempt to make it happen. But I kept stepping back and looking at the idea and being like, that's actually kind of a great idea though. And then, the more you like research into it, it's like, oh, but there are actually people who are doing things like this, maybe not to the level that Theranos was claiming, but there are things that are kind of creeping toward it. And there's advancements being made in that technology. And I think that's worth talking about. So that's why I made the video. But anyway, that's my little follow-up. You guys let me know if you like these. It's just a little experiment that I'm running. I did a short, this is probably aging this video a little bit because I recorded this a while back, but I did a short recently and uploaded it here on TMI just to sort of test the waters on the shorts thing. And then I ran a poll on the main channel about it, and it was enlightening. It was interesting. I got some interesting responses. I like the idea of TMI being a place where I can just kind of like try stuff without putting it on the main channel. So you might see some more experimental, weird little short sketches and stuff around here. That's something that I want to do. But I also thought that this might be an easy, regular thing that I could do to at least put some content up on here. People who've been following this channel for a while know that I go through like manic periods where it's like, I need to put something on TMI, and then I just put a whole bunch of stuff on here, and then I disappear for a few months. I know it's a bad pattern. I'm working on it, but a lot of stuff going on, and I'm just trying to keep my head above water. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I'll leave you with that for now, and I'll catch you next time. Later.